right, everybody. We've got another very special guest for y'all. Returning special guest, the great and powerful Cullen Bunn is here again. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you. Great and powerful. What did you? Did I have some sort of terminology you applied to me last time?
I think it great and powerful.
I've been going with great and powerful just because it's impressed you enough to come back. So
all right, I'll go with it. That's fine.
We can't list the books you have out right now because we'd be here for another 15 minutes on the intro.
It's funny. I just sort of updated my website with this new. I'm trying to simplify things, make things a little cleaner, and this website platform kind of aggregates all the books you've done, and I broke it because of all the books.
They're like, well, we weren't prepared for someone to have this many.
I broke it pretty rapidly.
That was the first place I went to do my research this week, and it keeps scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Yeah.
And then I spent some money because I saw some books I didn't realize you did, and I'm like, ooh, look at that one.
That's the idea. That means it worked.
You were the one this week.
Yep, that was it.
But I would love to start outside of your comics. You just started a podcast called the Colonoscopy.
Yeah,
which I love the name.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I started this podcast, a video podcast. It's on YouTube. I think we're going to be putting it out as a podcast too, but primarily it's a YouTube situation where I spend a little time, and every episode I have a guest host who comes on, and we talk about different topics in the horror genre, and we just have a good time doing it. We share our love of the genre, and we make some recommendations. And as you can tell by the title, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah,
there was a lot of back and forth about the tone of the podcast, if it should be very serious or academic, and I was like, let's call it the colonoscopy, and that just killed all the discussion of tone. We quickly realized what the tone was.
Oh, this will not be educational.
Yes, it is educational.
It is. No, I'm sure
it's not dry education.
Yeah, not dry. No, this is the fun education. Yeah, this is the college class you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds to me like it's something where you guys are having a little bit of fun, and it's probably for fans of the genre, but also probably for people who want to get into creating writing in this genre as well.
Yeah, and definitely some episodes more than others, maybe, because I have guests who are screenwriters, who are directors, who are actors, who are comic writers, and who are novelists, and we almost always at least talk a little bit about their journey, how they handle writing, and then a lot of just the love of the genre.
So how the first episode go? Who's the guest for that?
My first episode, the guest is Rebecca McKendry, who is a director and a screenwriter. She co-hosts Colors of the Dark from Fangoria.
Yep.
And she's done several comic books like Barstow. So she kind of covers all the bases, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and she's just an expert in horror. She's like a genuine horror academic. And we talked about horror in comics and what that looks like. So that was a lot of fun. My next episode is about vampires, and I'm talking to comic book writer John Avina. And then, I've got interviews with novelist Stephen Graham Jones, where we talk about haunted houses, and and Clay McLeod Chapman, where we talk about short stories. And I've recorded. I guess I've recorded about 10 of these so far. I mean, they're in the editing process. And then, of course, if you're familiar with my old video podcast, Missouri Swagger, that I did with Dennis Hopeless and Kyle Strom, I have them on as guests for a couple of episodes. So it's like a Missouri Swagger reunion coming up as well.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And I see you got these little shorts as well as a part of it, which one of them is called The Comfort of Booberry, everybody. So I just want to shout out that name.
Yeah, yeah. I started when I go to conventions or signings. I just kind of, especially, I just kind of do these quick discussions about what's something that scared you, or what's a movie or a book or a song or a game that kind of scared you, and we just riff on that for just a couple of minutes.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, somebody who's playing through Silent Hill 2 right now, and I can't play that game after dark, or I get too scared. Like,
yeah, look, that Silent Hill's a creepy game. I have a friend who is really. We've got some video game episodes planned for the Colonoscopy, but who's really into video game, and he always makes fun of me because we were at a bar one night, we were talking about video games. I was like, oh man, I love that Silent Hill. The creepiest ones where you start out and you're in an old village and there are these hillbillies trying to kill you. And then there's this little dude who looks like Napoleon who's like a mutant. And he starts laughing. He goes, that's not Silent Hill. that's Resident Evil 4 you're talking about.
Yeah, that's Res 4, yep.
And I was like, okay. Well, it was the most Silent Hill of Resident Evil.
Yeah, it was. It was very Silent Hill. Yeah, the Napoleon guy. Yeah, that got a little crazy. I thought playing it on my Steam Deck, like my smaller screen, would make me less jump scared. But when stuff pops out, I still like jump on the couch. I'm like, okay, I gotta put this down for the
night. I've been really wanting to dive back into some of those games.
The story's so good, but yeah,
they re-released not too long ago, I guess, the John Carpenter's The Thing video game game that came out 20 something years ago, and I remember that one being really awesome. I've been thinking about that Alien game a little bit.
Yeah.
It really messes me up when I'm playing it. Like, I get so stressed out playing it. I've never finished it because I get too stressed out when I play it.
Yeah, the isolation one where you just have like the dots, right? You know when they're close to you, you just don't know where they are.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I do like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I know how you feel. Yep.
That's kind of a great segue because you have a current book out right now based on a video game property, and you're also doing a Diablo book.
Yes.
How much do you play these games? And the other game is Cyberpunk, everybody. But how much do you play these games prior to writing these books?
And I also did Bloodborne.
Yeah, the Bloodborne. Yep, we talked about in the past. Yep.
Some of them it depends. Like with Cyberpunk, for instance, I had played the role-playing game way back when, the pen and paper game. So that was where I was really familiar with Cyberpunk. And I was writing the comic before the new game got released. So I had to just they sent me a ton of information, books and books and books of information about the world and what it was. So that one I did not play. I did not play before writing the comic. Bloodborne, I tried to play. I was familiar with Bloodborne because I loved the design of Bloodborne. I would just look at the art of Bloodborne. I liked tri-corner hats and the Gothic cities. I liked all that. And it was weird because I had told my friends just a couple of weeks earlier, I said, if there was ever anyone who should be writing a Bloodborne comic, it's me. And then I got a call, hey, do you want to try your hand at Bloodborne? So I started writing it, and I started playing the game, and I'm terrible at that game. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played.
Yeah.
So really I had to let my son play through scenes for me, and I could just watch him play.
That's the problem I have with those games. I love the art direction, but I'm too old.
I'm just not good at a lot of games. I love playing them. I'm just not good at them. And Diablo, I have played those games. I had played plenty of times up until that one. I'm okay at the churn-like nature of the Diablo games. I can do that pretty well. So.
And for the Diablo comic, was it kind of like free reign what you want to write about? Because I guess there is a story there, but it's like, it's an action RPG, so it's not really heavy. It's a lot of side questing stuff. But
they Team Diablo really wanted me to connect it to the story of the newer game coming out. So there was a lot of I had to play at a very specific spot in the Diablo universe.
Okay. Yep.
And so that was it was fun. It was interesting. But maybe going in. Yeah, I get the call hey, would you be interested in Diablo? And my first thought is, man, it's just going to be a churn through of monsters getting hacked to pieces.
Yeah, right.
But that is not the case for we really delved into the story side of it a little more.
Mm.
There's plenty of monsters getting hacked, but but it's got a little more to it than that.
Yeah. And everybody's always trying to speed run it when you're actually playing it. So you're like, okay, skip the cutscenes.
Right.
Get to the boss. Yeah. What's the loot? But that's really cool. And touching on the Bloodborne stuff again, I read through that series you did, and the books were awesome. That the story you told, and I'm guessing you had to deal with like From Software with that, and about how to handle those characters and things. So.
And they weren't really too heavy-handed on Bloodborne. It was very open. I mean, there were some things I pitched that they were like, well, that's not how things work in this universe or in this world. But they were minor things. I think the biggest note I got from them, which surprised me, was they wanted me to make it a little less bloody in places. They were like, tone down the violence. And I was like, I remember gouts of blood spraying from creatures.
Right, for sure.
But okay, that's fine.
It is called Bloodborne too. I mean,
and the word blood is right there. I was just birthing blood for them.
Yeah. I guess another book we can touch on, because I actually ended up reading the first issue of Jump Scare when it came out, but it also is tied to your Beyond Mortal universe that you've kind of built. So do you want to talk a little bit? Because I think we've had a few issues of Jump Scare come out since we've last talked to you, right?
Yeah. The series the initial limited series of Jump Scare has wrapped up, so you can get all 4 issues. I think the trade comes out in October. Mm-hmm. Beyond Mortal it's a superhero universe that I created. It has all the tropes of a golden age superhero universe. Mm-hmm. But then I injected like a real horror element to it. The first Beyond Mortal graphic novel I used to pitch as the Justice League versus the Cthulhu mythos. And I created my own sort of pantheon of horrible deities, sicked them on the earth, and stood this group of superheroes against it. But my intent was always to do more books in that universe, introduce new characters, and just really build it into something bigger. And Jump Scare was the first of those books. You don't need to read Beyond Mortal to get Jump Scare. It stands completely on its own. It has a completely different tone than Beyond Mortal, but it does take place in that universe.
Mm-hmm. I did read that first issue of Jump Scare, and that's like her power is to get any horror movie weapon. Right? Is that what the reveal is in the something like that?
She's a super fan of horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, and her power, she's fast, she's strong, she can teleport if it's at any place that someone's not looking. Mm-hmm. But the power she uses the most is she can conjure any weapon from any horror movie she's seen. And it's just conjured out of thin air to use that in her vigilante quest for justice.
Yeah, and it's funny because you probably don't even need to cite the movie or property that it came from, but like when you pull a chainsaw out, it's like, okay, I think we know where that one came from.
Well, yeah, I think you can get what the idea of it is.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, for legal purposes, it was actually fun for me. I made up movies for every weapon she conjures. So every time she conjures a weapon, this little movie ticket appears, and it names the weapon, it names the movie, and the year the movie was supposed to have come out. So I kind of, I had a lot of fun doing that. I have a spreadsheet of movies I created for the Beyond Mortal universe.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Do you do any like play on actual movies like the Thursday the 12th? She gets the hatchet.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, there's first of all, in the book I reference a ton of horror movies from our the real world horror movies. She's always talking about her fandom of horror movies. But yeah, there's she conjures a mallet at some point, and I think the name of the movie is Love Your Biggest Fan, which there's a little tribute to Misery.
Yep.
She conjures a glove at some point, which is obviously a Freddy riff, but the glove has a chainsaw on each fingertip, so she's got like a glove full of chainsaws, which is I try to change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's awesome.
Would love to. I saw this when I was doing stuff. I didn't realize you were doing this book, but I was immediately pre-ordered and was fascinated by the idea. You're doing a book with AWA called The Ultimate Wizard of Oz Universe, Lost Lands.
Yes.
What is a Cullen Bunn Wizard of Oz book?
That was one of those books that I knew going into. I was like, this is not what people are going to expect me to work on. And I wanted it for the challenge of it. The thing is, a lot of Oz is very dark and very dark fantasy. So, my favorite Oz movie is Return to Oz, which traumatized children in the 80s. So there's a lot of dark fantasy elements to it. There's a lot of fantasy elements to it. And what was interesting is it's very true to the Baum Oz books. It's a very accurate representation of the Oz books and where those go. But also, we were able to do some really wild things with the designs of the characters, and Mike Deodato's drawing it, and he's just he's a powerhouse, and he draws no hyperbole. I think this is his best work ever, is drawing these Oz characters. And when you see like his take on Tin Man or Tin Woodman and his take on the Cowardly Lion, it's pretty intense stuff.
That's high praise. Deodato has had some phenomenal.
Yeah, this stuff in this book is just. I really do think it's some of his best work ever, if not his best work.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I was like, you say people wouldn't expect you to do that, but that's one of my favorite things from creators. It's when I see someone like you and you just go completely left field with this book, and I'm like, well, I gotta know what this is all about.
Well, I like the challenge of it. I'm not a songwriter. I can't do the same thing. I'm not a singer. I don't do the same thing every time out of the gate. So I wanted to just try something different with it, and it definitely was very different for a number of reasons than anything that I've worked on. I mean, I was working with Oz historians with decades and decades and decades of study on Oz.
That's insane.
To make sure that it was as accurate as possible.
Do these people like live in towers and have like really long beards? Like, what do these historians look like?
No, but they certainly have a wizardly knowledge of
yeah. I did not know that was a thing. That is insane. That's awesome.
Well, it was it's things like I've read the books years ago when I was a kid. I read the original books, but I'd mentioned something, flying monkeys. Well, the flying monkeys. And then they would just go off on this long history of flying monkeys and how they were controlled by a hat and just all this stuff that I didn't really remember. And you definitely don't get when you watch like the Wizard of Oz movies.
Wow. Okay.
And is this a retelling or are you creating a new story inside the universe?
So this story takes place after Wizard of Oz. And it does follow the novels after that. So it's following the novels, but there was so much room in between the things that are happening in the novels. It's a very fresh take on what you might expect. Even if there are a lot of folks who are very very dedicated. You think superhero fans are dedicated. True Oz fans are in it to win it. They want Oz to be a certain way, and so we wanted to appease them, but we also want to make it interesting for new readers. This is not the Oz, even though it's a very true rendition of the Oz story. It is not the Oz you're expecting. It gets so much bigger and so crazy.
So you say it takes place after the Wizard of Oz. So I know it's based on the books, but for people who watch the movie, which I would think is most people,
I think
they're going to have an easy time. Kind of, you're going to push them through.
It
well.
starts out right away with characters you're familiar with, where they're going, what happens to them. You've got characters like the Tin Woodman and the Cowardly Lion are heavily involved in the story, so you've got familiar characters that stick through with you. And then we introduce new characters that are from the novels, who have huge roles to play in the series. So this first one is really focused on this character of Tip, and Tip has a big destiny in the world of Oz.
Yeah, that's cool. Like you said, not something we would have expected out of you, but also another book we wouldn't expect out of you was Gotchaman, and that series. I think Volume 2 comes out. If everybody's listening to this, it would have came out yesterday. I think it comes out July 15th for Volume 2. Can you talk a little bit about the journey with Gotchaman? Because I think Chris and I thoroughly enjoyed what we were reading. I had a lot of fun with it. So what was that experience like? What's going on with it?
Well, Gotchaman is probably to me Gotchaman is more in my wheelhouse than say Oz. Because I was, as a kid, I grew up watching the cartoon. Here was called Battle of the Planets, which was the Americanization of Gotchaman. So I was very familiar with these characters, very familiar with the show, and I've always loved it. I mean, Gotchaman was big for me when I was growing up. It was a big deal. So when Mad Cave reached out to ask if I was interested in working on the series, I was super excited about it. I rewatched every episode of Gotchaman, and there's hundreds of episodes. And there's a lot of stuff I remembered, a lot of stuff I didn't remember, a lot of stuff that was very different from the Japanese version versus the American version. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had some big ideas for the series, and I wanted to do something that if you're a fan of Gotchaman, you could read this and like it and get where we're going. Yep. But if you had never read Gotchaman and never heard of Gotchaman, you could jump right into this and follow along and know what was happening, because we had guidance that they did not want this to be a sequel to the Gotchaman cartoon. These stories take place during the timeline of the cartoon, and all the cartoon episodes happen, so they're all canon. These stories are canon and have to take place within that framework. And that was the challenge that made it super interesting to me, because if you are familiar with the cartoon, you know how the series the series ends and everything. So I was like, how do you create characters that you can get invested in, new scenarios that you can get invested in, and also tell stories that seem fresh and interesting. So that was the first challenge. The other challenge is I really wanted it to sound like the cartoon. This series has a narration, because the episodes of the original cartoon had this interesting narration. So I wanted it to read like that, which is not how I would normally write a comic, but not in that style. Because the narrator in the cartoon will say things like, "Go, Gotchaman,"
motivated
may the justice of the world be on your side, and things like that. It's like the narrator's kind of cheering them on at times.
Yeah.
I wanted it to have that feel as well.
Mm-hmm. So you just wrapped up Volume 2 will be coming out. Any plan for the future here? I was reading it as a new fan. I had no prior cartoons or anything, but I was really enjoying it as just a book.
Sorry, my cat's jumping up in front of me.
No, that's okay.
Very interested in Gotchaman, this cat.
Yeah, she loves it.
So the series is continuing.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure how much I'm supposed to say in terms of how it's continuing. I don't know if issue 11 has been solicited yet.
I don't know. We'll have
Chris that will tell the tale. Let's see if only we had devices that would tell us.
Yeah, because all I see is issue 10 right now.
Okay,
Issue
so
11, August 6th.
August 6th. Okay.
Is there any details on that issue?
Let's see, breach issue breather. A surprising typhoon crashes. So yeah, there's a plot line here.
Okay, well, the series continues. That's about as much as I can say about it right now. Issue 10 ends on a pretty big cliffhanger, a pretty big change in the dynamic. It's a sort of a dark and scary moment in the world of Gotchaman.
Yeah, and the storyline kind of like focused on the B team, right? The like backup team that.
So I introduced this backup team. The main Gotchaman team is definitely the stars of the book, but this backup team gets introduced right away. I know when I first started doing the series, a lot of longtime fans, I knew the comments were coming. I was kind of wanting those comments because they would say things like, "Oh, well, obviously Cullen Bunn's going to introduce his own new team of Gotchaman."
Yeah, right. Oh, they're going to replace him. Yeah,
and I wanted that. That's what I wanted people to think. But if you get to issue 10, you realize, oh no, that's not what he has done. I've done something much more terrible with this, because I introduced a lot of trainee characters in the world of Gotchaman.
Yeah,
I'll say, just to cut in real quick. Issue 11, it says, is actually written by Sam Humphries.
Okay, all right. So
all right. Yeah.
So
I do have issue 12 here written by you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So
I will say the series continues. I have a big plan for what happens to Team Gotchaman, the ninja science team, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be really cool and really intense. And what's also really neat about the Gotchaman franchise is all the spin-off books that they did. They've done a Blackboard book, and they've done. Books focusing on certain characters, and I think all of those are just really good stories.
They were a lot of fun. The Galactor book was crazy. That one was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I didn't know if they had Sam's name on issue 11, so that's what I was.
Okay, that's cool. That's a surprise. Sam Humphries coming in.
Yeah,
love him. Awesome. Yeah, I was really enjoying it, and I think Chris and I get so upset because there's these books and properties we normally wouldn't read, but we. If your name's tied to it, we're going to read it. And then it's like, man, we got another book on our pull list.
Look, I appreciate it. You don't have to read them all. But
but it's all good stuff. It's all great stuff, man.
No, it's impossible to read it all from most creators, let alone you. But I do pull out certain things, and kind of actually where we want to go next, because Mike and I talk about, we have like shameless books that we should read or should have read, but never have. And as a fan of yours, and I have the omnibus sitting upstairs, I promise you. I've never read Six Gun. And you have a new volume that's currently in the issues, I believe, and the trade's coming out in the fall.
Did you just say you've never read Six Gun?
I've never read Six Gun, man.
This is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye. He's got to
go. First of all, you need to fix that. And
I will send you a picture later of the omnibus sitting by my bed. It's going to be started here in the next week or so.
Yeah, you need to fix that. But we've got a new Six Guns miniseries starting up. Hopefully, the first of many that starts up here in just a couple of weeks. The first issue. It's and when I say issue, I mean these are big, like 30-page issues of the comic that it's a sequel series. We really hesitated to do anything with the Six Gun again. We did a book called Shadow Roads, which takes place after the Six Gun and has some connective tissues. But we were really hesitating on doing a series that was this connected to the original book, because we didn't want to cheapen the original book or change the original book in any way, until we found an idea we really just loved, and we found it. So that's what this new series is all about. It's a sequel to the original series and a sequel to Shadow Roads, and it kind of weaves all those threads together and continues that story.
So do you see a long-term plan for doing more of this, or is this like a one story you saw and you want to move on?
Yeah, no, I would love to. We have a plan for more of these. Probably the curse that Brian Hurt, my collaborator on the Six Gun, and I have is we always see a bigger plan for everything we work on. We always want to do. We can't possibly just do something and think to ourselves, well, this is just a 5-issue series and it's done. I mean, when we get together and start talking about it, it always blows out bigger and bigger and bigger, and we want it to, we want to tell these big world building stories.
Well, to everybody out there who's a terrible person like me, these Oni Press put out these 6-gun omnibuses. I'm not sure when they put them out, but they're soft cover, very affordable, and beautiful. Like the trade dress is awesome on these things. So
yeah, and they're big, thick trades. I mean, there's a lot of content in each of these. There's 4 of them because there's 3 omnibuses in the original 6-gun series, and then a 4th omnibus which contains all the Shadow Roads books. And yeah, it's look, if you haven't read it, like some people, it's an epic fantasy. It's set in the Old West. 6 magical pistols. It's one of the books I'm like when I'm talking to people. If someone says to me, "What's a book you would recommend?" I've never read any of your books. What do you recommend? The 6-gun is one of the first things I usually recommend for anyone.
Nice.
And yeah, the first volume here, 22 issues of 6-gun, so you get plenty of comic for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's awesome. I think after that, we could probably talk Deadpool, right? You're going back to kill the universe one last time, is it?
Yeah, I got cocky and thought, let's do it again and see what happens.
Yeah.
Marvel did these variant covers a while back that were like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe variant covers, where on each cover Deadpool was killing somebody in some ridiculous way. And when they did that, I wrote to Dalibor Talajic, the artist of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and I said, it looks like people are still interested in this. They're still interested in Deadpool killing their favorite characters. So let's pit. And immediately we wrote an email to Marvel saying, how about Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time and see what happens. So yeah, we're doing that kind of story again. I will say this is just like, it's always referred to as a trilogy. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe again, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time. But really, those books are not connected. Those books are 3 different stories that tell, very different, different takes on Deadpool killing the Marvel Universe. This new one is, in my opinion, like the most epic Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe story of all time. And the complaint we've heard over the years is, I don't like Deadpool killing good characters, and that's not cool. And maybe maybe the world's grown tired of good characters getting slaughtered.
Yep.
So this new series, Deadpool is going after the absolute worst versions of every Marvel hero, the most diabolical versions of Marvel heroes. So he's not just going out and killing your favorite version of Spider-Man. It's an evil Spider-Man.
Is he killing like is Frankencastle showing up?
Frankencastle absolutely shows up.
Chris,
that's the greatest version of Punisher, so I don't know why you'd want to kill him.
I don't know if I disagree with you. I mean, are you being facetious right now? I really like it.
I'm the one guy on the internet who, I don't really like Punisher that much. Like, you can do him well. I'm not saying he's a bad character. But when they go weird with him, Frankencastle being top of that list, I love that shit. I
really enjoyed the Frankencastle stuff. Yeah. I thought it was. I'm not a Punisher guy either. I think he's fine, but
like a few years back when they gave him a War Machine outfit, and they're like, "Yeah, go shoot things in an Iron Man suit." I'm like, this is weird and stupid, and I love it.
I think my limit is Frankencastle. That's the only version I really care about.
But I'll tell you this. I used to have, when I was younger, a mail subscription to a couple Marvel comics, and I forget what book they were sending me, but it got canceled, and the replacement they gave me was Punisher. and it was at the beginning of Frankencastle, and that's how I discovered Frankencastle.
They were still doing mail subscriptions back then?
Yeah, back in the early 2000s.
Wow,
late 2000s,
it feels like
whatever.
going a lot longer than that, but okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know they were still doing early 2000s.
Yeah.
I was getting my Shonen Jump then, my Shonen Jump magazine that they don't do anymore. Yeah, that was back then. I think, we got a couple more things I want to talk about, unless you got more stuff on your list, Chris.
I just have one, and then the stuff coming up that...
Yeah, you want to go for your stuff?
I guess just to kind of see what's going on, you still have the book you're doing on Kickstarter with Outland Entertainment, The Faraway. You guys just wrapped up issue 2, and I know you put a ton of work into that book. What's going on with it? Can we see another issue coming out soon? Or
yeah, other new issues of that series have been written. It's a little weird getting art, only because the artist lives in Ukraine and things are dicey there. So that kind of slows things down a little bit. But the series is continuing.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I remember thinking, wow, what dedication! Because he wrote to me one day and he said, "Hey, I want you to know that I am working on the series, but they might be hitting us with missiles, so I might be a day or two late."
What?
It's like, man, you really want to work on a comic. So
on the list of excuses, I put that acceptable.
Yeah, I might be obliterated today, but I will oh my god, how awful!
Look,
that's crazy.
I can make excuses for. I'll make the worst. I've got a little bit of a headache today, right?
Right, right.
But yeah,
being attacked by missiles is
getting attacked. That's a good reason.
Yeah, if people don't know that book, that kind of combines your love of horror and Dungeons and Dragons into one comic.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to do a series that was kind of a throwback to the old D&D cartoon that I don't know. I mean, some people are familiar with, where kids get transported to a magical, mystical world. But then I just turned. I was like, "Oh no!" They got transported to the worst magical, mystical world. It was, terrible things are happening to these kids.
Yeah. It's a really great book. When issue 3 does hit, everybody make sure to find it on Kickstarter.
And then the last couple things we want to talk to you about today. You got a novel coming out, Bones of Our Stars. So it's a horror novel coming out in November. And you just happen to have the time to do more writing because you're not busy enough. But is this something you've been working on for a while? Had the idea for?
It's one that maybe a year and a half. It took me a little longer to write the novel, so I've been working on that part of it for a little bit, and just recently got through all our edits and then the copy edits and things like that to finalize it. But yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a while. I just I started out. When I was trying to break in, it was with prose. I was trying to do prose, and then I broke in comics, and that's where I, landed for a while. But just like I was saying earlier, where I really want to try some different things, I want to, expand my horizons. I wanted to do a novel, specifically this horror novel, and for the experience of it, for the, to flex different muscles, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's one of those books. It is available for pre-order right now. Comes out, I think, November 11th, I believe, is the release date.
Yep.
It is. It's one of those books that the biggest challenge I have with it is it's hard to pitch, because it's one of those books that it starts out. It's a slasher horror novel. There's a masked killer in this small town, and he's killing people. How do we find him, and how do we stop it? But there's a point in the novel where I just blow that up, and it becomes a completely different thing. Okay. And that was what when I set out to do the novel, I wanted to do what I call a switcheroo, where things start one way and then it just goes berserk into a completely different kind of story. and that's what I'm doing with Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World.
Did you enjoy the process of doing the novel, and also like, would you say at this point you have a preference? Like you enjoyed the novel a little bit more, doing comics, or how'd
I
that all
like
go for you?
both. I don't know if I have a preference. I mean, I can say this: there's a stress that for me with this novel being my first like full length adult novel. There was a stress level there because it's all me. I mean, it's all on me. With a comic, if I write a scene that's like, I don't know if that one's going to work. Yeah. There's a good chance. What happens a lot of times, I'll write the script, I turn it in, and I start thinking about it, and I say, I don't know if that scene's going to work out. It's probably terrible. People are going to hate it. And then the art comes in, and I'm like, they're not going to care because it's gorgeous. So
it looks great.
The artist saved that scene. That's a safety net you don't have with the novel. I don't have that. So that part kind of, it's a different kind of stress. But I can't say, I enjoyed the book. I like writing myself into corners. I like trying to figure out how scenes work together. Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World is very ambitious because it's got a huge cast. There's a huge cast of characters. I envisioned it being a lot shorter, and it was much longer than I originally intended it to be, because I just got caught up in these characters, and I remember, when I got my edits from my editor, I was going through it, and I started making all these additional changes. I was kind of like, when George Lucas did the the special edition Star Wars, I was doing that to the novel before it ever gets published. I kept adding and changing things, and at one point I just had to say, all right, I gotta stop trying to enhance it. It hasn't come out yet. Let's just I have to let it go. Because I think I just got caught up in, I can fix this, I can improve this, I can change this, I can add to it, I can layer in more subtext, and I was just spiraling down that. That was the biggest challenge for me, is I just wanted to keep layering in more stuff.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah. Like you said, the art isn't there to be like, add a little something or like, make it.
Yeah, it's I liked the collaborative nature of comics. I enjoy that. It's one of the things I like most. I also like with comics that when I write a script, I start seeing art pretty quickly. There's sort of an immediate gratification. And you don't get that with a novel. I mean, it's a longer time to get published. From going from finish to being on the shelf, there's a longer time. And you don't have that. You don't have the collaborative nature. You collaborate with your editor, but it's not as intense of a collaboration as with a comic. And you don't get that immediate gratification. But at the same time, I kind of like that it was all on me. I'm like, okay, I like this. Yeah. I like that this is my project.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I can see where that'd be cool.
And I saw when I was looking up that there's an audiobook for it. So as an audiobook guy, that's going to be the way I listen to it. Yep. Do you do the audiobook, or do you guys hire
the sultry voice of Cullen Bunn?
they're gonna hire someone in for the audiobook. I don't think anyone wants me to read it all the way through.
I do. I'd pay money for that one.
I like hearing an author read their own work. I think
so do I.
I prefer it like the original audiobooks of Stephen King's The Dark Tower. Stephen King read those. And then when they redid them, he didn't read them, and I was like, I don't like them as much. I like hearing Stephen King read the Dark Tower. Same with Clive Barker did like a recording of the Hellbound Heart, and I liked hearing Clive Barker read the Hellbound Heart.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think the recording hasn't taken place yet, but I don't think it's going to be me. So
damn. And I think the last book we want to talk about today is you have Deluge coming out, new comic from Ignition Press.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I started working with Ignition Press, this new publisher who has very big plans for their publishing slate. very big, very exciting plans on what they're going to be doing just as a company and how they're going to handle things. And Deluge was just recently announced as my first book with them. It is. They're going to release zero or the cold open issues, which are like 0 issues of that series at San Diego Comic-Con. But Deluge is set in a women's correctional facility, a women's prison in the 90s that is built on a floodplain, and the levees break and the floodwaters come rushing in. And these women, these inmates, they have to be evacuated from the prison. And all of that is inspired by true events that happened here in Missouri at a women's correctional facility in the 90s. And then I take it and I add some supernatural elements that there's a point in our first issue where things, I was just talking about these moments where things change. There's a point in the first issue where everything changes. And you're like, oh no, I'm reading a very different comic than I started reading at the beginning. And
Nice.
And it just goes off the rails in a big, fun way.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that. They're doing a big push at San Diego, it seems like, with a bunch of books.
They are.
Yeah. Yep.
They are. They've announced a ton of new books that they're putting out. They're bringing, there's a lot of their creators are going to be there. They've got some cool panels set up. They've got this pop-up press room that they're opening up. It's gonna be real exciting.
And I'm looking at their lineup. I'm guessing based upon a lot of the creative teams that's here. Are these people have been in the industry for a while and just trying something new?
Yeah,
worked with in the past.
Yeah, I've worked with everybody at Ignition at different companies. So this is them coming together with something new. And it's the kind of project that is exciting enough and interesting enough that it drew them to it. It was something that they're genuinely approaching things in a completely different way, and in a really cool way. And it's got me excited about doing these books.
The press release for San Diego Comic-Con, it says, confirmed guests include Cullen Bunn, and then in parentheses, the first thing that says the colonoscopy. Hell yeah! Yeah, and then Sixth Gun. But no, it was just funny to see that.
Well, yeah. Well, Ignition is helping do some of the work. Helps me present the colonoscopy. It's something that they're
cool.
helping me
That's
put
awesome.
together.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Hahn is also doing a video podcast called Curious Haunts, which is really cool, and it's very different from the colonoscopy, but very cool. One of the panels that we're doing in San Diego is a live mashup of the colonoscopy and Curious Haunts. So
cool.
It's kind of, they've been very supportive of these podcasts.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, exciting stuff, Colin. You're not busy. You're never busy. I don't know. Every time we talk to you, it's like
never busy
all
enough.
this free time. Yeah. We really appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us. It's always very informative of the books we missed this year, and to look forward to stuff coming out.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thanks again. I'm having a very comic book kind of day. I'm gonna leave this and go straight to watch the Superman movie.
Oh, dude. Chris and I both watched it, loved it.
Don't tell me. No,
we just loved it. We're just saying we loved it. Yeah.
We're that's next on the agenda today is to watch Superman.
Dude, I'm happy. I wish I could see it. I'm gonna go see it again for sure, but I want to see it for the first time again.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I honestly, to be completely honest, I kind of initially was kind of like, I'll wait for it to be streaming. Superman. Okay,
yep.
I'll wait.
Yep.
But then as time goes on, and I've avoided almost every trailer for it, every spoiler for it, and I just heard enough about it that I was like, okay, I'll
go see it.
I'll go see it. I'm sure it's going. Look, James Gunn hasn't let me down in terms of any of his movies. So so I'm excited to see how it shakes out.
Yeah. If it was any other director, I'd be exactly where you were. I'll wait for it to stream. But
Well, I just don't feel like since the Christopher Reeve stuff, I don't feel like Superman's hasn't just wowed me in a theater.
Well,
To me, Superman 2 is the highest peak of Superman, film.
yeah, Richard Donner had it, man. The Richard
Yeah.
Donner cut, right? Yeah.
Yes, of course,
Yeah. Yeah, of
And,
course.
I mean that movie was just something special for me, and it's when I watched it as a kid. It's it's
Right.
the age I was when it came out. I thought the first Superman movie was cool but boring. So the second one is exactly what I need, what I wanted, because it wasn't boring.
Right.
There was. So yeah, I'm hoping to recapture a little bit of that excitement. That's what I'm hoping for. Having seen very little about the movie, is to get that.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I'll say that.
So I'll be looking at your social media later to see what you think of the movie.
Yeah,
but
me
if
too.
people out there want to follow you, how much social media are you doing? Where do you want to send people to follow your work?
So you can always go to my website, cullenbunn.com, and that's got links to everything. But the best place to follow me, I have a newsletter that I put out every week that is loaded with sneak peeks and information on me as a writer and what I'm doing and what I think about books I'm reading and movies I'm watching. It's just loaded with stuff. It's my favorite thing it's my favorite kind of interaction. So the newsletter, you can get to it right from my website. You can subscribe to it, or you can go to Substack and find it there. But yeah, I do that newsletter every week. I'm really, that's the best place to keep up with me. And then, of course, the Colonoscopy on YouTube.
Nice.
Yes.
Great.
And to everybody out there watching or listening, I'll have links down below in the show notes to all that stuff, including Colin's social media, the Colonoscopy, his Substack, website, everything you need will be right down there for you. Just click on and check out. So yeah, once again, Colin, it's always a pleasure having you on, talking to you, and just best of luck with everything moving forward.
I really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.